Welcome to English Vertex Podcast.
Improve your vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation with our engaging lessons.
Hey everyone! Welcome back to English Vertex Podcast. I'm Emily, and I'm really glad you're here with us today.
And I'm Daniel. Hey, Emily. So I had a funny moment yesterday. My friend told me something, and when I tried to repeat it to someone else, I completely messed up the grammar.
Oh no, what happened?
She said, I am tired. And when I told my roommate about it later, I said, she said she is tired. My roommate looked so confused.
That's actually the perfect example for today's topic. We're talking about direct versus indirect speech.
Yes, this is something so many learners struggle with because it's not just about the words, it's about how the whole sentence shifts when you're reporting what someone said. By the end of this episode, you'll be able to take something someone said directly and report it correctly to someone else without that confused roommate moment Daniel just described. So here's a question for you before we start. Do you ever find yourself avoiding this altogether and just saying, he said, blah, blah, without actually reporting it properly? Let us know in the comments. If you're new here, welcome. Make sure to like this episode and subscribe to English Vertex Podcast so you don't miss any future lessons.
All right, let's untangle this together.
Main teaching section 1, basic concept. Okay, let's start with the basics. What's the actual difference between direct and indirect speech?
Direct speech is the exact words someone said, usually in quotation marks, like, I love pizza, she said. Indirect speech, sometimes called reported speech, is when you tell someone else what was said, but without quoting it word for word.
So the formula looks something like this. Subject plus reporting verb like said or told plus the reported clause, usually with that, and the tense often shifts back one step.
Let's go through some examples so this feels real. Direct, I am happy. Indirect, she said she was happy. Notice am became was.
Direct, I will call you. Indirect, he said he would call me. Will became would.
Direct, I have finished my homework. Indirect, she said she had finished her homework. Have finished became had finished.
Direct, I can help you. Indirect, he said he could help me. Can became could.
And one more. Direct, I am working right now. Indirect, she said she was working right then. See the pattern? Everything shifts one step back into the past.
Here's a personal example. My mom texted me, I'm cooking dinner. Later, when I told my husband, I said, Mom said she was cooking dinner. Totally natural, right?
Exactly the kind of thing we say every day without even thinking about the grammar behind it. Let's ask each other some quick ones. Emily, what if I said, I need help?
You'd report that as, he said he needed help. Your turn. What if I said, I am leaving now?
She said she was leaving right then. Nice! We're getting the hang of this. Listeners, try this one yourselves. Someone tells you, I want a coffee. How would you report that to a friend?
Take a second to say it out loud.
You probably got, he said he wanted a coffee. Or she said she wanted a coffee. That's exactly right.
Now, let's talk about negative forms, because these follow the same shifting pattern too. Direct, I don't like coffee. Indirect, she said she didn't like coffee.
Direct, I can't come today. Indirect, he said he couldn't come that day. Same shift, just applied to the negative form.
Can you try one?
Someone says, I won't be there. How would you report it?
He said he wouldn't be there. See, once you know the pattern, it just clicks into place. One more thing worth mentioning. You don't always need the word that. She said that she was tired and she said she was tired are both completely correct. And honestly, in spoken English, people usually just drop it.
That's such a useful thing to know, because a lot of learners assume that is required every single time, and it just isn't, especially in casual speech. That's such a useful thing to know, because a lot of learners assume that is required every single time, and it just isn't, especially in casual speech.
There's also something worth noting about modal verbs like would, could, might, and should. These usually stay exactly the same in reported speech. They don't shift back any further.
Good point. Direct, I might come later. Indirect, she said she might come later. No shift needed there at all.
Direct, you should rest. Indirect, he said I should rest. See, should stayed exactly the same. It didn't change into some other form.
Great! Let's do a quick summary before we move on. Indirect speech usually shifts the tense one step back, uses that to introduce the reported clause, though you can often drop it, changes pronouns to match who's actually speaking, and leaves modals like would and should unchanged. 3. Main teaching section 2, related use. Now that we've got the basic tense shift down, let's build on that with something equally important: reporting questions.
Oh, this one trips people up a lot because the word order actually changes when you report a question. It's not just about the tense anymore.
Right. Let's look at a real-life situation. Imagine your friend asked you, "Where do you live?" If you want to tell someone else about that question, you don't say, "She asked where I lived."
Instead, you say, "She asked where I lived." The question word order flips back to normal sentence order, subject before verb.
Let's do a dialogue demonstration. Daniel, pretend you're asking me something directly.
Sure. What time does the movie start?
And if I reported that to someone else, I'd say, he asked what time the movie started. Notice does completely disappears, and the order becomes normal again.
Let's try a yes or no question, too. Direct, are you coming to the party? Indirect, she asked if I was coming to the party. We add if or whether, since there's no question word.
Now, here's where formal versus informal usage comes in. In casual conversation, people often just say, "She asked if I was coming." Nice and short.
But in more formal writing, like a report or an email summary, you might see something like, she inquired whether I would be attending the party. A bit more polished and precise.
Let's do a quick practice activity. I'll give a direct question, and Daniel will convert it.
Ready?
Do you speak French?
He asked if I spoke French. Easy.
Where did you buy that jacket?
She asked where I had bought that jacket. Nice. That one even needed the extra tense shift.
Why are you upset?
She asked why I was upset. That question word why stayed right where it belongs, at the front. But the rest of the sentence went back to normal order.
Perfect. Here are 3 tips for this section. First, question words like what, where, and why stay in place, but the word order becomes normal. Second, for yes or no questions,
Ready.
Do you speak French?
He asked if I spoke French. Easy.
Where did you buy that jacket?
She asked where I had bought that jacket. Nice. That one even needed the extra tense shift.
Why are you upset?
She asked why I was upset. That question word why stayed right where it belongs, at the front, but the rest of the sentence went back to normal order.
Perfect. Here are 3 tips for this section. First, question words like what, where, and why stay in place, but the word order becomes normal. Second, for yes or no questions, add if or whether. Third, helping verbs like do, does, and did disappear completely in the reported version.
Those 3 tips alone will fix most of the common errors here.
Listeners, try converting a question you heard recently into reported speech and drop it in the comments. We genuinely love to see your examples.
Please do that. It really helps us see what to cover next. All right, let's review what we just learned.
We covered reporting questions,
keeping the question word but flipping the order back to normal, adding if or whether for yes or no questions, and dropping helping verbs entirely. Great review! Let's move into our third and final teaching section now. All right, for our third piece today, let's talk about reporting commands, requests, and advice, because these use a slightly different structure altogether.
This comes up constantly in daily life. Think about telling someone what your boss asked you to do, or what your doctor advised. Right, so instead of said or asked, we usually use verbs like told, asked, or advised, followed by a person, and then to plus the base verb.
Let's look at some detailed examples with context. Direct, close the door, she said. Indirect, she told me to close the door. Direct, please help me, he said. Indirect, he asked me to help him. Direct, you should see a doctor, my friend said. Indirect, my friend advised me to see a doctor.
Here's a tip for politeness and naturalness. When the original command feels harsh or direct, using told in the reported version keeps that same directness. But if it was a polite request, asked keeps that same softer tone.
Tone and delivery really matters here too. If you say, she told me to leave with a flat tone, it can sound like an order. But said with a lighter, more casual tone, it just sounds like you're passing along information.
Let's look at negative commands too, since these are super common in real life. Direct, don't be late, she said. Indirect, she told me not to be late.
Direct, don't forget your keys, he said.
Indirect, he reminded me not to forget my keys.
See how not to comes right before the verb?
Let's do a mini practice together. I'll give a direct command and Daniel will report it.
Go for it.
Turn off the lights, Mom said. Mom told me to turn off the lights. Nailed it. Don't touch that, the sign said. The sign told us not to touch that. Perfect example of the negative pattern. Listeners, try this one yourselves out loud right now. Someone tells you, please call me back. How would you report that? Say it out loud. You probably got, he asked me to call him back. Speaking these out loud really helps them stick. One more common scenario worth practicing, invitations. Direct, would you like to join us? Indirect, she invited me to join them.
Notice how the whole structure changes there. We don't just shift tense. We actually use a completely different reporting verb, invited, that captures the meaning naturally.
That's such an important point. Reported speech isn't always about a mechanical formula. Sometimes it's about choosing the reporting verb that best captures what actually happened.
Other useful reporting verbs include suggested, warned, promised, and offered. Each one carries its own little flavor of meaning.
Let's wrap up this section with a quick structural review.
We covered reporting commands and requests using told or asked plus to, and reporting advice with words like advised. We also saw how negative commands use not to before the verb. 5. Common mistakes. Okay, time for one of our favorite parts, common mistakes. And trust us, we've both made every single one of these.
Oh, for sure. Let's start with mistake number 1, forgetting to shift the tense back. Learners often say, she said she is happy, instead of, she said she was happy.
This happens because in the moment, it feels natural to just repeat the exact words you heard. But remember, reported speech usually needs that one step back shift in tense.
Mistake number 2, keeping question word order in reported questions. Something like, he asked, where do I live? Instead of, he asked where I lived.
This one's really common because in the original question, the word order feels so fixed in your head. But once it becomes reported speech, it needs to go back to normal sentence order.
Mistake number 3, forgetting to change pronouns to match the actual speaker and listener. Like saying, she said, I am tired, when it should be, she said, she was tired.
Why does this happen so much? Honestly, because in the direct quote, the pronoun was I, and it just feels automatic to keep it exactly as it was.
A helpful trick here is to picture yourself as the outside narrator, telling a story about someone else, not repeating their exact words.
Mistake number 4, and this one's honestly kind of funny, using told and said interchangeably when told actually needs a person right after it. Like saying, she told that she was tired, which sounds a little off. It should be either she said she was tired or she told me she was tired. I actually mixed these up constantly when I was younger. Told always needs someone right after it, while said doesn't.
Let's practice fixing a couple of these together. I'll give you an incorrect sentence, and Emily will fix it.
Ready?
He asked, where does she work?
He asked where she worked. Fix the word order.
She told that she was busy.
She told me she was busy. Or she said she was busy. Both work depending on what you mean.
One more for good measure. He said me that he was busy.
He told me he was busy. Or he said he was busy. Remember, said doesn't take a direct object like that, but told does.
Perfectly fixed. And remember, everyone, these little slips are so normal. Every fluent speaker mixed these up plenty of times while learning.
Absolutely. Don't let the fear of forgetting a tense shift stop you from trying to report speech out loud. Practice is really what makes this automatic. So to sum up, watch for forgetting the tense shift, keeping question word order, forgetting to change pronouns, and mixing up told with said.
6. Interactive practice.
All right, it's time for our favorite segment. Choose the correct sentence. We'll give you 2 options, and you decide which one is correct.
Number 1. Option A, she said she is tired. Option B, she said she was tired.
Option B. Remember, the tense shifts one step back in reported speech.
Number 2. Option A, he asked where I lived. Option B, he asked where did I live.
Option A, since reported questions go back to normal sentence order.
Number 3. Option A, she told me to call her back. Option B, she told to call her back.
Option A, told always needs a person right after it.
Number 4. Option A, he said he couldn't come. Option B, he said he can't come.
Option A, since can't shifts back to couldn't in reported speech.
Number 5. A slightly trickier one. Option A, she asked if I was coming. Option B, she asked, am I coming?
Option A, yes or no questions need if or whether, and the word order stays normal.
And a bonus one, number 6. Option A, Mom told me not to be late. Option B, Mom told me to not be late.
Both are heard sometimes, but option A with not to is the more standard and natural pattern in everyday English.
Great job if you got those right. And if a few tripped you up, that's completely fine too. That's exactly what practice is for.
Here's your challenge. Think of something someone told you this week and try reporting it out loud using either said, told, or asked.
Say it out loud right now, even if no one's around to hear it. Speaking it out loud really trains your brain to use this pattern automatically. And remember, the goal isn't perfect grammar every single time. The goal is being understood clearly in real conversation. Exactly. Even native speakers slip up sometimes. What matters most is that your message comes through clearly.
7. Conclusion and wrap-up. Wow, we covered so much today. I feel like I want to go retell every conversation I had this week just to practice. Same here. Let's do a quick recap of everything we learned. First, we covered basic statements, where the tense usually shifts one step back, like am becoming was. Second, we covered reporting questions, where the word order flips back to normal, and we add if or whether for yes or no questions.
And third, we covered commands, requests, and advice using told, asked, or advised, plus to and not to for negative commands.
If you take just one thing away from today, let it be this. Reported speech isn't about memorizing a giant grammar chart. It's about learning to shift your perspective from quoting someone to telling their story.
So here's a question to think about. What's something someone told you recently that you could practice reporting today?
Let us know in the comments. And while you're there, make sure to like this episode, share it with someone who's learning English, and subscribe to English Vertex Podcast so you catch every new lesson.
Learning this pattern takes real repetition, but once it clicks, it genuinely becomes automatic. Be patient with yourself along the way.
We're really proud of everyone listening and practicing with us today. Keep reporting, keep practicing, and keep speaking with confidence.
Thanks so much for spending this time with us. Take care, keep learning, and see you next time.